Hey everybody, you know what time it is, even though it's the wrong day. Sorry I missed you on Wednesday. It's Syntext. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. And sorry about yesterday not being able to go on, but as you know, life happens. And I was actually up in the woods hunting yesterday. So yeah, and it was cold and I didn't see crap. Okay, but that's enough on that. Let's get to the actual subjects of tonight. And tonight I want to go over anybody who wants to work with preset or canon characters. And the key thing on that is simply research, folks. And that's something that today's folks who write for like Star Wars and Trek and stuff like that seem to be forgetting. If you have preset characters, you have to actually research the preset characters. And hello, everybody in the chat. How's it going? Yes, you are here. And I'm here. So, as far as preset characters, I want to go over for anybody who is actually looking into building their own storyline. And when I was going over creation of your area, if you're going to have a preset character, even if it's an individual character, like you want the goofy guy from Trekkie Trek with a fucked up head, or if you're just getting elves, well, which type, and the guy with the messed up head, which clan? A lot of this actually plays in because you're going to get a lot of flack from people who know the lore and they're just going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you? So that's the key, is you got to look into it. And that's why it pains me looking at the way Star Wars treats Ahsoka. It physically hurts me to see how poorly they're doing that. Because that's a preset character that people grew to love. And I actually, even though I really don't care for Star Wars, I like that character. I really did. What the hell's wrong with me? Oh, did I not get this close enough? Am I not coming in? I thought I'd keep it farther away at this time, so it wasn't totally in view. Better? What the hell's wrong with me that I don't like Star Wars? Yeah, ask the writers of I'm not even gonna say that. Yeah, that was a case of Guns have Herpalades as far as writing was concerned. As far as that version of Trekkie Trek went on. Now, I have my issue with Trekkie Trek is just because everything's so slick. When you're out in space, unless you're given alien technology, nothing's going to be that slick. Don't worry, I'm not drinking anything but actual soda. And by the way, if you've never had birch beer before, I recommend you try it. That being said, again, I don't, Fabian, I'm simply using them as a stepping stone because who doesn't know Star Wars? Especially if you listen to an HFY, everyone knows Star Wars. I'm just using that as an example. I'd like to move on to others, like when they did Doctor Who, when they switched over to one of the latest Doctors, they literally took all the canon, wrote it down on several pieces of cardboard, rolled it up, and shoved it up the audience's butt. And I'm sorry, but I'm not surprised the audience was butthurt about it. I looked at them like, what are you doing? You have to pay homage to the character. With Transformers, when they showed Bumblebee, right next to him was the yellow VW bug. And that was enough for the audience. Don't get me wrong, like I said before, when I heard the original Optimus voice, I jumped out of my seat. That being said, sometimes just a little bit of hint doesn't help. When they did the Harleen Quinzel, they did a horrible job with that. Even though they did pay homage by showing her old suit, even though it was way too shiny, way too slick, and they should have had if they really wanted to hammer their point home, with those clown cases of makeups everybody knew when we were growing up, they should have had that on the side for her to do her makeup with as an option, just to show that the makeup kit was there. As a clown makeup kit, I think that would have been funny as hell. They dropped the ball on that one because at that time in her storyline, she's already told the Joker to kiss the darkest part of her ass and to go that way. slam into that wall, then go that way, slam into that wall, and then keep going back and forth until she says stop. Preset characters, folks. If you're going to use preset characters, you have to pay homage to the character. That being said, if you're introducing a new character, like I was doing, and I didn't know if you guys would like it if I made, or I shouldn't say made because most of it's already written, if I put out a story as far as the DC universe, and I actually had to create a character, and he is he's an amalgamation of all different experiments. So his powers are crazy, but they're not exactly dependable. It's weird how that goes, unless you get him like completely laser focused. And if you're going to do that, again, I do the whole thing. I had to pay homage to the whole characters. He's really good. The character's really good friends with the Flash because he's honestly afraid of the Flash. The Flash is the strongest character in the DC universe, with like one or two exceptions. So you got to be careful. I mean, hell, Plastic Man's, believe it or not, can take down Superman in about 3 seconds. It's crazy how strong certain characters are. And again, you have to pay homage to that. You got to keep the canon. Now, along with canons, you got to keep consistency. And I will say on one of the stories that came out this week, some of you were bringing up the fact that with the survival one in particular, they're like, well, it's really not that cold. It turned out to only be like negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, I didn't go into super detail. Maybe I should have. The fact that they crash landed on the planet without winter survival gear and engines that didn't work. I did mention how the engines had been damaged, so there's no heat source. And when you're talking negative 20 to a reptilian species, yeah, they're going to look at that as no. It's cold-blooded, like my ex. I know, exes. They all hate me. They hate me because they can't keep me. Anyways, I know, bad jokes. So anyways, let's see. What about modified versions of old characters? Not sure if I'm wording my thoughts right, but one of those deals where you make a character based off what if, like Batman if he had his parents. Those get the only issue with those is a lot of people try to put themselves in there, and they don't have a complete psychological lock on that character. And sometimes the writing just takes the ball and drops it. And it just goes thud. And I'll give you a perfect example of that one. Invincible, when he went back in time. He had the choice of saving billions at the cost of having the memories of his daughter, which he wasn't sure if he would have again. Now, he was straight with everybody. I've come back in time. I know this, that, and the other thing. But what is the one thing that stops him? He decides that he's not going to be straight with his future wife and let her know that the guy she's dating is a cheating asshole. And because of that conflict where he doesn't think he's going to get his wife, oh, just be fucking straight. You literally took the consistency and you've broken it. And I've always said, you lose consistency, you lose the audience. You need consistency, you need the audience. And that's why if you do a modified character, you still have to be true to the original character. Now, if you had Batman who didn't lose his parents, you can really play that one of two ways. You can either play it to where he became an elitist douche nozzle, where, in actuality, you find out his mother and father were into some pretty shady shit, and he gets pulled into that world, but he's still unbelievably smart. Does he still have his empathy, or is he still full of apathy for everyone else? Because his way of dealing with trauma is going out and beating on people. He could do 10 times more good as Bruce Wayne than he ever could as Batman. And that's just the way it is. I've looked this up, down, left, right, and center. Batman in particular, without that trauma, he would most likely be the villain. And people don't like seeing Batman as the villain. He's more of a figurehead. He's like Superman. Everybody wants to see Superman as like the strong guy, the best guy, the person to look up to. I like writing people you can look up to, but Superman's too perfect, and that kind of kills the character. There's no question. I mean, it's like in those Dragon's Balls. You guys love looking Dragon Balls as they bounce around all over the different planets, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, all he does is scream, change his hair color, and now he's stronger. And that's an entire season. I'm like, it gets monotonous. You got to have something with it. And if you're dealing with other characters who have a major life change like that, you're still going to have to adjust for it. They did a lot of this in the Flashpoint series, where he went back and saved his mother, but they left it so he still had his memories for a while of his old life, his previous incarnation. Because of that, his personality didn't shift at all, but that's pretty damn thin. But it is what it is. They made it work, and I'm glad they made it work. I enjoyed it. I thought it was it was reaching, though. Now, characters, what if they do a lot of that? I've seen a lot of that on YouTube. What if Superman landed in Russia? That, the Red Sun thing. What if Wonder Woman actually stayed with the military guy instead of linking up with Superman? Different stuff like that. Or what if he didn't die? Back in the 40s. What if she hooks up with Batman like she was supposed to? All this different stuff. And they did do a what if with Superman and Wonder Woman had a child, but she treated him like shit because he was a guy. I thought that was a perfect twist because that matched her character so well because she hates men. She's been raised to be that way. She's been indoctrinated for I don't know how many centuries. It's not leaving her. And by the way, Trapper, that was not a cringe question. That's actually a legitimate question if you're looking at morphing an existing character. You have to take whatever is going to be the big changeover and look to see how they would perceive things from that point. And now I have to actually change here because I have a $20 super chat. Holy flying donkey turds. I don't NZ. I'm guessing is that New Zealand? I'm not sure. Says Syntax, just love all your vids. You do a way better job than that Hollywood could ever do. So I would like to thank you for your videos. It helps with my depression. So keep up the good work of your videos. You are quite welcome. You are very, very welcome. I'm glad you enjoy my work, and if you guys have any critiques or anything, by all means, put them in the comment sections. I check the comment section at least twice a day. I'm a little late on my checking of emails, but I do check the comment section all the time. Yes, I know sometimes I misspell things in the thumbnail, and I'm just sitting there going, idiot. But I mean, once it's on there, I can't. I have to go in and create a whole new thumbnail. But yeah, I'm glad it helps there. Hamish is that, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. If I butcher it, I'm sorry. If it's Hamish or is Hamish, I think it's that. You're in another country, man. I'm sorry. I'd be lost. But I'm glad it, gets you up, gets you moving. And, dealing with depression, I mean, that sucks, dude. That I hate dealing with that. And honestly, if it wasn't for a little bit of my faith here, I might have actually looked at the wrong end of a friggin' pistol when I was young. So I was thinking about it. So, that you can always get out, and I'll drink to your health, my friend. So, and doing a better job than Hollywood, at least nowadays, is that's not a long stretch. I will say you want to watch some of the best movies from back in the day. Look at I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. It's a John Wayne movie where he was out on a cattle drive, and that was some pretty hard hitting stuff. That was the time of the day, and they were straight talking, and you wonder if anyone's going to even survive. Halfway through, it's crazy. Scottish name. I'm from New Zealand. Thank you very much. Yep. Cowboy movie, a Western movie. John Wayne did a lot of Westerns, and he was the man's man. I won't say all his movies were, spot on, but a lot of them were. He was what everybody tried to be, and unfortunately, they had to write the character based on John Wayne. If you ever actually listen to him talk, he's not actually acting. He's basically just reading the part because that's kind of the way he was. He's they do that with a lot of folks. Unfortunately, nowadays, if you have a character that's based off the actor, that's because the actor is either writing it or producing it, and then you get a piece of shit like, I don't know, World War Z. The book is freaking awesome. I'm looking at a copy of it right here on my bookshelf. Oh, you don't believe me, do you? World War Z, one of the best books I've ever read, one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but I did get it signed by the author. I met him at Comic-Con. He's a really cool guy. He only comes up to about here on me, and he was actually going through ROTC, Max Brooks, Mel Brooks's kid. And I recommend this one. It's just really, really good. He put a lot of time, a lot of effort in this. It's just a very good story. And it's one of the few books I recommend. But in any case, let's see. What do we got here? Would you ever do a Titanfall inspired story? So something based on exosuits that have AI in them. I mean, I could. I don't really mess around with the AI too much unless it's its own entity. I did have a couple stories where the AI actually runs about half the shit. Actually, the God dang, sorry, I just had a brain fart on me. Ambush Predator. That the ships were almost completely run by AI. They only needed, well, in all honesty, they didn't need the captain in there. They just needed an order, go here and screw somebody up. Go and blow them up, and it would have gone and done it. It had its own multiple AIs, one for the ship, one for general maintenance. All the fighters were different types of AI, but they were all connected to each other, but they could run independently. But that's usually how I do AI. I don't really I haven't even played Titanfall, honestly. I'm a huge BattleTech fan, but a Titan in Titanfall is not a battle mech. It's an exosuit. There's a very major difference, which is why I try my best. And thanks to everybody out there, I'm able to actually get a lot of the definitions right. Thank you all for correcting me in the comments section. My main critique is I prefer your more first-person general stories. The reason I got away from that is some people have actually asked me to do more third-person ones. I can go back to doing first-person. That's absolutely not a problem at all. Those take a little bit longer because you can't just say, well, this person is feeling a certain way. You got to really enhance that portion of the story, which is why Call to the Stars, A Call for the Arms, believe it or not, a few of those were recorded like 3 or 4 times over so I could get the inflections right. Because as you know, I can't alter my voice. In fact, one of the voices I did, you heard this week, I had to do this to actually get the character's voice to change. And that hurt. After about like a minute, I thought my jaw was going to snap. It was not so fun. And I can actually still feel it. But in any case, yeah, if you guys want more first person, I will do what I can about more first person. I do have a few others in the slot which have to be finished up. But yeah, let's see. Dad always said an infantryman that reads a lot is a terrifying thing. That's probably why this infantryman didn't get promoted. And you end up showing people up, they don't like it. Hey, Drill, how's it going? Well, it's going pretty good. And next week, I'll be actually putting that campaign hat back on and be doing a thing for Veterans Day. And yes, there will be a Veterans Day special story coming out. So, yeah, I'm not giving anything away. But just like the one I did for Memorial Day, it's going to be specific to that. If you're anybody not in the live stream or listen to it afterwards, it's going to be a bit of a surprise because it's probably not going to drop the date of the way things are looking. I'm going to try to, but we'll see how that goes. But all right. I had it on my notes. I put my notes down and I don't know where in the hell I put the actual notes for this. I will say one of the other subjects I wanted to cover tonight is those who are creating different worlds. Lest we forget. When you're building a new world, one of the first things you have to do is figure out the climate. Is it a single climate? Is it like Earth that has multiple climates in multiple hemispheres? How many oceans? Does it have oceans? Is it only ocean? How far away is it from a planet? Is it a moon or is it an actual planet? I mean, we're all satellites around the star, so you have to throw all those in, which is why the previous story I did when they're on the ice world, it was, if I remember correctly, it was the 5th or 6th planet back, which got it really far away from the sun, at least by our understanding, and that's what kept it cold. Colder. So if you're going to be doing that on a specific planet, you need to break all that down. And for the love of God, like I always do, get the notes. Lots of notes. I actually had to go get more pads to do more notes because I ran out. But the kicker is, if you're doing stories like me, I've made the mistake of throwing my notes out. Hold on, let me file this. I'll put the next one in later. Anyways, but that's one of the key things. And also, a side note, if you're going to be talking about an alien species, just a reminder, if you are going to be looking into referring to them, make sure they are referred to by a look that is different than human. Whether that be antennae, horns, feathers, fur, tails, wings, talons, scales. I don't know. Maybe they're super bulbous. Maybe they're whichever you might be. But make sure you are specific on that and consistent. Please stay consistent. Story idea. Embedded with a human combat company or similar, and them seeing the rivalry between mech pilots and exosuit troops. Okay, so the difference between mech jockeys and elementals, basically. Yeah, I could see that. Kind of like the difference between tankers and infantry. We'll work together, but we give each other so much shit. I mean, stinking treadheads, I swear. But they come up with some of this. I thought we come up with goofy shit to rip on each other. I mean, seriously, I'm walking through the motor pool, and there's a guy jumping up and down on an 80-ton piece of machinery. I'm like, what's he doing? Some guy said, well, he's checking the shocks. What the hell is his 120-pound ass going to do to an 80-ton piece of machinery? It doesn't. What? But yeah, you know what? I'm going to grab my notes here. Another thing, secondary notes. I'm going to write that down. Rivalry. Mechs versus exosuits. I kind of touched on that a little bit during the Galactic War Games, but I didn't actually go deep into it. So if that's what you guys want, that's what you're going to get. You ought to do a story on what the aliens think when they are shown the trainings of our elites from drill sergeant up. Oh, you mean like Spec Ops? Well, I can work with that. I can say that I may or may not have worked with them. I may or may not have gone on missions. I may or may not have trained with them. I may or may not be able to say anything beyond that. I got to be careful what I say because, there's certain things I could say that would get my ass locked up quick. And I will say the fun thing, if I was to do that, them going through like basic training, they would fear the blue circle. For those that don't know, on the campaign hat, it's what we call it, the drill sergeant hat. If you see a blue circle, that means they're infantry. And when I was a drill, I was dealing with people who were support, or what people call pogues, persons other than grunts. And a lot of them had a little more either lackadaisical, or they yelled the whole do as I say, not as I do. I hated that. I really did. And the other combat arms guys, we would be right up in your face. God damn it, private. It's all that fun shit. So, yeah, we could grab my notes again. I'm just going to put basic training down. I don't want to pull myself away from this too much because, hell, I'm doing a live stream here. I can't just sit here and take notes. Just a classroom full of alien military fighters having a watch old military training documentaries like Surviving the Cut. I would. That story's been done. I still listen to a few of the other folks, narrator every once in a while, Aqua Squirrels. I don't listen to them nearly as much as I did, but I can say that one has been done, and that was they had a whole thing about some aliens wanted war, and their idea of war was basically let's play laser tag. And we were like, no, we play war like this. Show them Saving Private Ryan, and then watch them all, pass out or throw up or be like, oh my God, you do that? Oh, let's see. Used to make them try and air up the trackpad. You're evil, Trapper. That's just evil. Get air for the track pads, get some headlight fluid and stuff like that. And, get an exhaust sample, take it up to the NCOIC. Yeah, I know all about that. And I still hated those games because it just wasted time. I had stuff I had to take care of, and I really didn't want to play around. All media is monitored. Yeah, it is. It is very much. Sea Dog's here. Sea Dog's here. Hello there, Salty Sea Dog. Our wonderful merchant marine is in the chat again. Stay safe. Yeah. Well, stay safe was okay, but as you can see on the back, there's my 30-30. I was out there hunting this morning, and I totally whiffed my shot. Oh, beautiful doe too, and I just lining up, and I just couldn't. Every time I pulled the scope up, like right on the kill zone, there's a branch across. I'm like, there's no shot. And then she finally moved away, and I'm not going to shoot her in the ass because that's not a kill shot. You're just going to waste everything. And then by the time she turned, I'm sitting there. It's like this morning, it was almost 0 degrees, and I'm not wearing gloves at that point. So my hands are just shaking like crazy. And by the time I got the hammer back, and I'm just like, oh, shit. Quite literally scared the piss out of her. Whole area just reeks of urine. Even compared to where she went and took a leak in her scrape, and those who don't deer hunt, that's how they bring in the boys, put that scent in the air. Well, apparently that shot was close enough that she just freaked the fuck out. So she peed herself. I had a blue as well. Even the other drill sergeants were wary around me. Yeah, they can be. It depends on the person. I actually had in our Bravo company, we had one guy, he he was a drill. He didn't have the look. He was very skinny, seriously skinny neck. He just had that look of somebody whose body didn't grow past the age of 14, but he knew his shit. Holy crap. He knew his stuff. Upright, left, right, back, left, and center. It's just crazy. It may seem bad. Oh, you didn't like the Galactic War games, huh, Fabian? Okay. To each their own. That's why I try to do all sorts of different stuff. I will say a lot of times when I get stuck on a series, I'll actually look at the views and I'll see the counter clicking down on each one. And if I'm not getting views, below 1,000 or something, I'm just going to leave it at that. Speaking of series, I do have to say this. They call us Monster series. I quite literally have run to the end of my everything I wrote down. So it's not in front of me, but I have a whole bunch of notes I'm scribbling down so I can actually continue the story. So don't worry, you guys will get that one. Those of you who enjoy it, the 300 to 500 who actually watched. I know not everybody comes here for something that seems mythological, but that's actually an HFY story. Or at least it's a science fiction story, because there's no magic involved there. That's all genetics. Really screwed up genetics. We had one guy in our drill sergeant unit, what the blue circle was. Asked our drill sergeant what the blue circle was, and he said it meant he was HIV. Oh, dear God. Proceeded to go into our basic training platoon and tell our drill sergeant about, wow, Trapper, holy, wow, just, wow. I've heard of some practical jokes, but Jesus, titty fucking Christ, that is just crazy. That's just, I can't even wrap my head around that. That's just absolutely crazy. See, I couldn't do that because I had to be the straight shooter the whole time, and it is what it is. And just freaking wow. I can't even. I can't even. On the next one. Speaking of guns, just curious, if you were told we had aliens coming with hostile intent with no real intel, what would be the first weapon you grab? Would be the closest one. At that point, if they're close, I just want to grab something. And I just want to put kinetic energy into whatever possible carapace, fur, or squishy body they may have. If I know they got an exo frame or a carapace, I'm going to be looking for something that pierces. I'm going to be looking for some sort of rifle, preferably. If they have something that is really broad and wide, I'm going to want a shotgun, because impact is going to, you don't know if they're anything like a turtle. If you actually opened up a turtle, in comparison to their body size, their organs are very, very small. So you need to be able to hit the target. And, if I'm looking for something that, if they're just small little goblin looking things, I'm going to be like, somebody give me a full automatic, because I'm just going to mow these little piglets down. Oh, for those who don't know, this is how we time our shots as far as the burst of ammo. It's literally die, motherfucker, die. Die, motherfucker, die. Die. I'm not even kidding. That's how you chime it. It's just, with that, you either get 79 out of the 240, or you get 10 to 15 out of the saw. And it is what it is. So, but yeah, that's the first weapon I would grab is the closest one. But the thing is, the weapon doesn't mean shit if you don't have the ammo for it. So that's why I was talking ammo on a few of the other ones, because, if you hit them with an incendiary round and that round's not going through, it won't matter where you hit them. They're just going to sit there and squeal and yell, and that's going to give you enough time to get up close and knock them in the head. Question: draft male and female. I prefer if they don't do it, but with all the craziness going around right now, I've been hearing rumors that a lot of officers are being called back. Well, not a lot, but some officers are being called back. A lot of senior NCOs have been getting the calls like, "Hey, you willing to come back?" I don't think I'm high enough rank. I have enough experience. I have enough schools. I have enough all that fun stuff, and my meat suit is more or less still in one piece. But I don't think they'd be able to call me back. As far as drafting folks, they would have a riot on their hands. They would have states plural wide riots on their hands if they tried to draft folks. Unless there was some sort of actual attack here on the U.S. mainland, I don't see that happening. I really don't. And the interest in actual joining the service is pretty low. I actually just ran across one kid in the gym. Was it Monday? He's going to be an MP. I tried to give him some heads up for basic. But yeah, I'd rather a draft didn't even happen since they abolished it. And in all honesty, the draft was never supposed to be a thing. I mean, a militia is different. A militia is you're called up and you're summoned, but nothing says you have to show up. And I will say, if they start draft, they might as well change it to its original word, conscription. Conscripted armies don't survive long at all. They just don't survive long at all. Throughout history, conscripted armies are just waves and waves of meat that are there to go. Everyone knows about the Russians. First guy will get the rifle, and second two guys would get ammo, so that the first guy that got it, he maybe fire a shot. Or more often than not, the weapon was empty. He was there to take the first bullet. Then the next person would pick it up, load the weapon, and continue, and he would actually fight. And the whole idea was the first one was just a bullet sponge. It would force the enemy to actually stop and reload. And the idea was it would take longer to reload a machine gun than it would to load a stripper clip into a bolt action rifle, which is true unless somebody has been disciplined. In North Korea, especially when the Chinese came in, I talked to the guys who were over there, and all those things about they came in waves, sometimes not even armed, they would just run at you. That was actually true. It didn't happen all the time, but it happened enough. And anybody who's seen the Chubby Sparky do his thing on Sergeant Reckless, then yeah, it was no joke over there. Where was I? What time is it there? 2300 here, UK. As of right now, it is just after 7 p.m., as in 1900 hours. Well, 1908, if you really want to get at it. That's a rifle. Anyways, yeah, hello flamethrower. Or you want to be actually scientific, it's a plasma thrower. I've been trying to push more of that because that's the only way Xenos would actually see it. They're like, oh, they're chucking plasma at us. Yeah. We call it jungle juice, or, well, actually, no, that's bug juice, but like jungle jelly. Like burning jello, I've heard it called too. And for those that don't know, it is actually very easy to build that stuff, but please don't. Please don't. Unfortunately, we had, when I was a kid, some idiots make some in their garage. Not only did they burn the garage down, but the guy burned a hole straight through his hand. So yeah, don't play with that. It's amazingly easy to make though. I was taught marksmanship by using a dime and the dime washer drills. Yeah, in basic training, we still do that. I am big on that. And on that note, if you guys have anybody that's starting to learn how to shoot or wants to learn how to shoot, this is the best drill I was ever taught. Tell them to put their hand like they got a gun. Then tell them to close their eyes and keep them closed. Now fire the weapon, say bang. If when they say bang, they do this, they're already taught themselves to flinch. If they just say bang and they don't move, you don't have to do the dime washer drills nearly as much. But dime washer drills are important because everybody thinks that because of media, the weapon's going to make this huge boom and the sonic boom's going to throw them back. And oh, geez, what the fuck? Yeah, the dime washer drills, you do that with a dime and a cleaning rod. Just don't put the dime up against the muzzle because that's going to stabilize it. You want it about an inch away. Now, the kicker is you got to be careful with certain weapons on that because it will damage the firing pin. So just be careful on that one. Specialties is what is being looked. Yeah, they are looking for the specialty folks. They're calling a lot of people back who know how to construct and fix the old weapon systems, because a lot of these younger guys have never been taught the original weapon systems, which I think is a major fuck up as far as I'm concerned. I think everybody from the age of about 7 should be learning engineering from the very beginning of understanding electricity, what it is, which is literally electrons flowing down a copper conductor, basically the same way water flows down a pipe. It's almost the same exact freaking thing. And then understand that's pressure, and then start with like tubes and condensers and stuff like that. Just make sure that they know that you don't take certain parts off unless you let them sit for about a day. And you older guys know what I'm talking about. You could unplug that old TV. If you open it up and grab something, you're in for one hell of a shock, because they can hold a charge for a long, long time. And it's a very powerful shock. But everyone needs to learn things from the basics and see how it evolved, or in some cases devolved. But nobody's really doing that, which I think is a major loss, which is actually one of the other stories that's about to come out. One of the things it is a big part of it. I'm not going to let you know which one, but it is part 2 of one story that went over well. Oh, before I hit the next one here, or whichever side you guys are seeing this on, I just want to say I was amazed at the amount of views of one of the stories there. I didn't know a Spartan thumbnail was going to get everybody's attention so well. And that was amazing. I was more than a little surprised. It was a good day as far as I'm concerned. A very good day. YouTube didn't pay me for shit, but you know what? It's a good day. More views, more people subscribing. It's all good, and everybody out there with a YouTube channel knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I do thank you, anybody who's actually shared my stuff over. Big thank you for that. So let's see. I'm back to where we were. Okay, my computer's screwing up here. Get sick of people who's never been. Okay. Get sick of people who's never been in, I guess, talking about how a draft would be good for this generation. Like, we have enough dirtbags who join willingly and do shit. Well, when you're not actually in the conflict, Trapper, you got a lot of downtime. And I made it a point that when we had a lot of downtime, my way of doing things was this. At least when I was back on the line. After PT, which for those of you who don't know, physical training every day. I'd have, if we didn't have something that the platoon or company something needed, it was certain days you did certain things. Like Mondays, it was always, you always drew your weapon, you always disassembled it, you always cleaned it, oiled it, and you practiced with it. Everybody got practice on every single weapon system we had. And then we had a class at 09, whether you're disassembling your weapon or not, everybody got a class. And that was Monday through Friday. You learned something. And depending on what you learned, you had to check on learning before lunch. And if you weren't listening, you were stuck in the iron chair. If you don't know what that is, that just sucks so bad. And then if you needed to actually go out and do something, that's what the afternoon was for. If we didn't have anything after that, after lunch, everybody back in your PTs, we're going to the gym for the next 2 hours. You go, you can play basketball, you can do what I like to do, which is play a little bit of racquetball. If you haven't played that, that'll smoke you. Or go to the weight room, whatever. And then at around 1500, I just show up at the platoon sergeant, like, hey, we're done. If you don't have anything, we're done. I'm going to send my guys home. Well, you got to stay for formation. No, we're not. If you don't have anything, we are done. Oh, just hold them here. And it was always a back and forth. But I wouldn't say they're dirtbags if their NCOs don't teach them something. That's what I was getting at. If they don't learn how to be leaders at a young age, they're not going to be leaders later on. And unfortunately, when I came through, we had a lot of dirtbags who thought they were leaders and they sucked balls. One guy, I swear, that's the only reason he got friggin' promoted. Wore out the knees in his wore out his knee pads. Okay, where was I? Fire good, me caveman. Why not? They couldn't do that on Snow Planet. There was no foliage. But actually, it took me a minute to find that picture of the igloo. I wanted an actual no shit igloo, but you know what it is. I used a 243 and a 308 rifle hunt pigs and deer with my dad and his friends. It gets cooked up inside. Oh, it beats being cooped up inside playing video games all day. Yeah. It can, provide you get something, but it really sucks when you're up there for 3 hours going, where is the deer? I can't feel my toes, my fingers, or anything else that's hanging off my torso. You know, it's just a 423. That's nice. My friend has one. He had it changed. I fell in love with that rifle. Ooh. Anyways, the more videos you make, the better you become at it, and the more people will like and subscribe to your videos. Yeah, which is why I insist on making stuff every day, and not just, even though it is a consideration, not just because the YouTube algorithm will, shove me into a memory hole. If I don't make stuff, if I miss like 2 days in a row, you guys won't see my stuff coming up straight up on your feed. The YouTube algorithm is just horrible. And the fact that I'm doing this actually helps. But yeah, I've probably done 200 videos already, and I'm going to keep making them. As long as the thinking meat still pumps something out, I got something for you. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to get some inspiration going, but I will make you at the best content I can. It was cool when that snake woman called for help and the two guys that were attacking the farm decided to help her. That was a bad idea because she ate them, actually. She didn't just waste them, she ate them. And yeah, I kind of left you guys on a cliffhanger on that one, but I figured the way everybody was responding in the comments section about the previous chapters, you guys were going to like that one. And like I said, that was all written years ago, probably like 3 years ago now. So again, I gotta find my notes on that one. Which, again, where the fuck did I put? I'll find them later. And I got to keep going because some of you guys like that story. And what can I say, Amish? It's a good old honey trap. Especially if you remember, the snake girl don't wear clothes. And she is very, at least from the waist up, very hourglass shaped. So yeah, let's face it. Any guys, after being in a survival situation, is going to sit there and go, almost like Cookie Monster with a slight change. Boobies. So yeah, that's what they're going to do. We're guys. We're going to see a pair of tits after that long and just want to go yummy. Or do the whole Austin Powers thing and say, mommy, and then fall into a pit. I was actually debating certain parts of that character since he had eaten so many human, and he was at least 2 of them were female. But I thought that was a little over the top. Good night, Sea Dog. We'll catch you later. And Anyways, last chance here before we call it a night. If you got any suggestions, comments, concerns, throw them into the chat, and we're going to be on for about another 10 minutes at most, and then it's going to be out for today. I would be out hunting tomorrow, but lucky me, I got to take my sister's dog to the vet. Yay! Hate that yippy piece of shit. I know you guys like corgis. Oh, they're cute. God, that bark is like dragging a cat across a chalkboard. Ugh. If out in cold weather, wear correct clothes. It's not hard to be prepared for a change in weather. That is true. Actually, you can kind of see it right about here. It's my field jacket liner. I got 2 of them. One of the best pieces of equipment ever. If you get your hands on one, put that underneath your whatever jacket, doesn't matter, and you will be warm. Your torso is not going to get cold. I had to actually sit there, even though my hands were getting cold, my feet were getting cold. I was sweating on the inside. I had to open that sucker up. It's you are absolutely right. In cold weather, wear the correct clothing. The thing is, I kind of know this a little too well, because not only did I take the survival courses, I was the one authorized to teach the survival courses. Not only winter survival, desert survival, jungle survival, pretty much everywhere survival. The only issue was ever getting the materials to show people. Because let's face it, it's kind of hard to drag a pulk around in the middle of summer, and you don't exactly need one in the middle of a desert. But you are absolutely right there, Fabian. You wear the correct clothing in the correct order. That's another one. Changing weather 22 degrees at bottom, -5 at top. Take precautions. Yep. And basically, is the easiest way to understand is each layer is going to be basically cut that number in half. So if your body is at 90 and it's 50 degrees, that one layer, if it's not t-shirt level, but like sweatshirt weather, it's going to cut it in half, and you're going to feel 70. It's going to be comfortable for you. And then if you add more on, then you're cutting that in half more and more and more. Would you ever do a story where it's a boarding party on alien ship or something like that? I believe I've done a couple boarding missions. The kicker with boarding spaceships is the fact that doesn't make sense. I try to stay as close to hard science as I can while still, make a good story. Because if I stuck strictly with hard science, I'd have half a dozen stories out there at most. It's crazy. But as far as actually boarding a ship outside of a space dock, it doesn't make sense, because we humans, we're going to be sitting there like, prepare to turn the key, 3, 2, 1, kablooey. And there goes the scuttling charge. Take you out, take the other guy out. And that's how we as humans operate. You're not taking our ship. We get personal about that. It's like trying to take, a guy's car. We're going to be a little personal. Matching velocities and trajectories are a pain. Yep. The only way to actually do it is if they're drifting. Because if they have any type of control, they're going to hurt you. That's crazy how easy it is to hurt somebody in the vacuum of space when there's no gravity. That's why I put in, and I'm sure you guys have heard it, when an explosion is, say, here's the ship, here's the explosion, the force of the explosion hitting is literally going to push the ship at the same rate of the explosion going kablooey that way. So you've literally gone from 0 to breaking the sound barrier in a quarter of a second or less. The whole crew is going to literally go squish up against the wall. There's not going to be any, holy flying shitbirds. What the hell, Amish? Someone's made of money. But I do got to do this, just like a friend of mine. He's got his own podcast. Whenever you get paid a lot, I'm just going to say, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Oh. I'm no good to it when it comes to making stories. Sorry, but here's something to help you. Thank you for what you do again. Guy from New Zealand signing off. Catch you later, brother. I gotta go. Hope this helps you, though. Keep up the videos, please. Thank you. Amazing. See you, brother. And we will see you, Hamish. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it. You are a gentleman. You said you're not a scholar. At least you're a gentleman. And again, I appreciate it. Every time anyone does something like that, you will always be called out. I did get another $5, and I had it written down, and my dumbass lost the notes. So there was another $5 donation that I got on one of the other videos. And again, and unfortunately, I'd shout you out your name, but again, I didn't. It's on a different notepad, not this one. But yeah, I do appreciate it. And again, I will be making as many as whichever one you want. If it's a story I can make, i.e. it hasn't been done before, or it can be done, period, I will do it. I got the ones here, the rivalry between the mech jockeys and the exosuit folks. And then I got Xenos in basic training. Now that's kind of been done, but sometimes it's not done well. The one that I remember hearing is the Xenos are having trouble keeping up with the endurance. I mean, we are endurance predators, but I mean, it is what it is. And they did an okay job. They just didn't get into a lot of the extra factors of it, like carrying all that weight. And by the way, if you're ever going to be packing up a pack to carry with you, just remember, ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. So whatever your hygiene kit is, bring that down to travel size items. Get that thing as light as you can and as close to your back and as up high with the weight as possible, and you should be good. God dang it, Sin, you're way too humble to be as experienced as you are. Well, the thing is, you get too proud. We had a phrase where I come from. You get cocky, you get dead. And so you got to keep that level, which is why I got in so many fights as I did. You'd be surprised how many people will get a little pissed off at just one little zing, like calling the Marines water grunts. We used to call them water grunts all the time. Well, they called us bullet sponges. Big deal. Who cares? No one gave a shit. It was all in jest. Once you realize that, you all get along just fine. And not to mention, they taught us a few things, and we taught them a few things. We both got better, and it is what it is. Competition can bring out the best and the worst. But you gotta keep that level head, because what was I put in rule number 1? Never underestimate your opponent. That has always been rule number 1. So, anyways, gentlemen and or ladies that are in the chat right now, I've been seeing this number go up as high as I think 20 and down as low as 6. So it's almost 7:30 now, and I know there's other folks going on tonight. I don't know if the Salty Canuck. I know Terrence Pop is on tonight. I know a bunch of people watch Tim Pool. I don't know what time Joe Rogan comes on. And I know you guys like that. And they almost all come on at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to call off. Again, Hamish, you're awesome, dude. You are seriously awesome. And all the rest of you, you're just as awesome because you're here with us now. And again, any questions you got, if I can answer them, I'm going to answer them. But for right now, I am going to sign off. I will raise a glass to your health out there. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next time. This is Syntex ejecting.